Hey, welcome back to another Backyard Professor Chess video. Have you ever been playing along in a game and you've kind of put yourself in a really decent position? You've been doing okay, your pawn structure's pretty good, you've made a good positional point of having the upper hand, and then all of a sudden out of the blue, your opponent across that stupid table from you takes a rook. Or worse yet, a queen. And, you know, your whole mental world comes crashing down and you go, well, you just decide to start flipping pawns out there because for all intents and purposes, I think the majority of us really do play better with our queens and rooks, right? Because they are the easiest pieces to master. There's no question about that. And all you're thinking is, well, I've just got a couple of bishops and a knight now, so... I mean, for all intents and purposes, this game's over. He's got me up on the exchange. He got a rook, and all I got was a knight or a bishop, and so I'm more or less done. I can't win, so maybe I can draw or whatever. For those of you who have that issue, this game is for you. I think this is one of the best games I have found so far, and believe me, I'm looking hard for good materials to share with you guys and gals. I say guys in a generic. This game demonstrates really well the really good force that our minor pieces can play in a game. Seriously. If we can, what this will do, it takes practice to be able to get them coordinated, you know, because each bishop is on its own color throughout the entire cotton picking game, and these stupid knights, they jump in an L shape, and because of that they're on the black square one moment, and then a white square the next, and then a dark square, then a light square. So that's kind of hard to coordinate with a bishop on just one color, right? But it can be done, and I want this to be inspiring for that reason. The power of the coordinated minor pieces in a game is possible. And even we lesser mortals than the chess gods who reign from above, we can learn how to do this. So I'm going to play this game first, then I'll tell you who played it. So it begins with knight f3. It's enough of an introduction, for Pete's sake. Get on with the game, cowboy. And c4. A very knight f3, knight f3, knight f3, knight f3, c4, g6, knight c3. Okay, two knights coming out. Guarding the center squares, of course. Fianchetto's the bishop, has the long diagonal. We're all familiar with that. Now, white is grabbing center. He's actually owning it by putting his pieces in it. Black is covering the center. Pretty good, but more from a distance. But it's still an argument for the center, right? And the reason I have this kind of tilted skewed, sorry about that, is because of the light. It will shine a real bright glow on it, and you can't see it worth spit, and it just burns my britches. It's at night, so I can't film outside. Just stay calm, people. I'm getting ready to get back out into the wilderness. Yeah, wear my coonskin cap and really look like a moron, right? Bishop f4. He comes up to bishop f4, and then d5. So black isn't going to let the white have just uninhibited control of the center. Now the queen's coming out somewhat early. Pretty good development so far from both sides. And you expect that, right? D takes c4, queen takes c4. At this point in the game, it looks like white is dominating the center really good. That's because white is dominating the center really good. Gosh, you know, the genius just oozes out of our pores, right? So, here's the question. From this position, he does this. E4. I mean, white owns the center, doesn't he? Now that's quite the move. Well, black's still developing as quick as his little legs will carry him. Now look at this. Man, he's even bringing in the rooks. It's a pretty good development. He hasn't castled yet, but wow, what a development. That's good. That's good. And now black moves the knight twice, but he is hitting that queen. The queen's out a little bit early. That's one of the downsides of playing the queen early, is because, of course, she is going to be chased, right? I mean, I can't help but think that white almost recognized that would happen, right? Well, white comes up to here, and, you know, dropping the queen down to here probably would have been better. The queen is still too vulnerable, I would suggest. And then bishop comes all the way up here to g4. So we see both sides still developing really well. Now, what's interesting is the bishop here moves to g5, but that's twice. And from here on out, black punishes white in a remarkable game. Now we get the fireworks. And you go, well, obviously black doesn't know what the heck he's doing, because that's the third cotton-picking move with that knight. However, the fork and the setup with the way his other pieces are coordinated. I can't show you the variation. It's fairly complex. I'll explain it after the video if I remember to. But the variation here says, they gave this an exclamation point. They said, oh my gosh, this is going to be a heck of a battle. Because in all variations, if white takes this knight with the knight, he loses. I mean the game, not just the exchange. And if you want, take a look at that board and see if you can work out the variations. It's really interesting. What happened was he moved his queen down here to a3 instead. Okay, so he was forked and he brought it down here. And then they actually, let me where was he? Here? And no, he was here. He moved to here. And the queen was there. Here's one of the variations of why the queen came to a3. If, and I'll just say it out loud and you can play it on your board, because I don't want to have to reset it up. If knight takes knight, then knight takes pawn, and queen comes to knight 4, and then knight takes bishop. Yeah, knight takes bishop. Then the knight takes the knight. Then the bishop takes the rook. And the king takes the bishop. Anyway, it's a complex. And then the bishop takes the pawn with the winning game. It's a complex game already, is what I'm trying to tell you. I'm not going to go through the variation. Sorry if that makes you mad. I apologize for the inconvenience with which my lack of capability might cause. However, get over it, because I'm in the middle of trying to make a video for you. Oh dear. Queen moved out of the way. Well, the knight went ahead and took the knight on c3. And of course B is going to take c3. So, technically speaking, that didn't really hurt too bad, right? Yeah. Watch. Keep watching. We are starting to get into the thick of it. So this knight comes and takes e4. This, of course, plays into white hands, because now he's got a wicked fork right there on the queen and the rook. And you go, way to go, dude playing black. You don't know what you're doing. Don't get all excited. Queen comes to bishop 6. And bishop now comes to c4. And you can see that the line, I'm trying to hold my place, sorry. You can see the lines going this way are really strong, and the potential of a knight bumping in here is really, and if he castles, holy shish kebab, we are in for a battle. Not Tory though. The knight has it under complete control, and he takes the pawn. And you go, really? He didn't take the bishop? That's right, because he couldn't. The knight can take that pawn though. Now I understand the bishop. Where are you? When the knight took c3, then the other bishop, rather than taking the rook, comes down here. And now you can see that basically he is almost trapping the queen, except she can go out that way, but she better hustle, right? This is getting sticky for that queen. Rook f comes to e8, check. He ignores the threat to his queen. You remember I told you sometimes it's not necessary to react to your opponent's threats. In this instance, he goes check to the king. King bumps over here to f1, right? Now, here is the move of the game. Right here. Could you see what black did? What would you have done as black? I'll give you a hint. I would not have put the bishop right there. No kidding, dork. Right? However, where he does put this bishop is right there. And you're probably saying, hold it, dude. Time out, cowboy. Don't you see the queen is being threatened? Did you fall asleep? He must have, because he definitely took that queen. Now at this point I would like to reveal to you the players, because black just blew it. He lost his queen. Apparently he wasn't paying attention and he was monkeying around. Right? Not on your life. Wrong. The two players are, white player is Donald Byrne, and the player playing black is Bobby Fischer. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he was okay. Had he watched some of the Backyard Professor videos in his earlier years, he probably could have become world champion. This is Bobby Fischer we're looking at, man. He sacrificed that queen. Now watch what happens. This is so cool. Does he get mad at that bishop and retake it with the pawn and thus threaten the queen? No. That is not even what's on his mind. He comes here and eliminates a bishop. Check. Nice. So king has to hop over here to g1. Then Fischer goes knight to e2. Check. And he says, well, that's not checkmate. I'm okay. I'll go back over here to f1. And then Fischer takes the central pawn and announces discovered check on the king. And so the king says, not a problem. I have a free square right here at g1. Fischer has this isle, that beautiful open file where he put his rook, as the block from that king getting away. And then the knight goes back to e2, check. And Burns says, no problem. I have a square that you cannot checkmate me on, right there. And then Fischer puts the knight on c3, discovered check again, and the king one more time comes over to g1, and then Fischer takes the bishop, threatens the queen, and he has literally eliminated the entire center of Byrne, who just 10 plays ago, he had it completely dominated. And Fischer has eliminated that entire center with his minor pieces. Is that not incredible? You're beginning to see minor pieces matter, especially when they can coordinate so well. Did you notice that? You haven't seen the best yet, though. It's on the way right now. This is staggering. Seriously. Well, the queen comes up here to b4. Of course, moving out of the way. Rook comes to a4. And the queen takes the pawn. And now the knight takes the rook. Just basically taking out every piece and every pawn with his minor pieces. That is amazing. h3. Rook takes. The pawn at a2 completely eliminated that entire side. That's amazing, isn't it? King comes up to h2. He realizes, you know what? I mean, just a little bit, just a little bit of doo-doo. Not bad, not bad. When I step in it, it's only up to my hips. I can survive this. And then knight keeps chipping away every piece on the board. Knight takes f2. He is just obliterating his material, isn't he? Well, Byrne realizes, look, I've got a rook. I may as well use him, right? Challenge the open file. What the heck, you know? It's too strong. I've got to give my king a way out. And Fischer says, deal. I'll be happy to take that rook right off your hands. Let's swap rooks. Now, before Byrne does, he goes queen to d8. And you think, oh man, a back rank mate. But that's why your name isn't Bobby Fischer. Because Fischer had the bishop here, not a pawn. So he just simply blocks the check. Not a crisis. Now the knight takes Fischer's rook. And Fischer goes, well, heck. I'm going to put my bishop right there. Perfect, beautiful centralization. He completes the pawn chain, so the bishop is really quite honestly strong. He seals off the queen from coming down to this side. He has long-term influence here. He has long-term influence here. He has short-term influence here. And he's got another bishop up here that's pinned for the moment. He brings his knight up to f3. And Bobby says, that's a good idea. Centralize the knights. I'm going to put mine on e4. The queen comes here to b8. What was one of Nimzovich's main rules about pawn chains? To destroy the pawn chain, you have to attack the base of it, not the top part of it going down. Start at the base of it and go up. So Byrne is doing the right move here. That's the correct way to attack the pawn chain. Fischer just simply says, okay. He takes his move completely away from him. Byrne has absolutely nothing. Completely nothing. So he scoots H up here to H4. Come on, kid. Get in there, man. I haven't used H4 for so long it's sealed shut almost. Bobby is not going to give him any kind of extra play at all. This is superb chess. He simply blocks him off at the H file too. No counterplay. None whatsoever. Absolutely squishes him. Well, Byrne says, okay, hold on. I can centralize my knight, hit the pawn. King comes up to G7. Now what this move does, geniusly enough, which is not a genius move, but it is genius, is now he frees his bishop. You notice how Bobby wants to use all of his pieces. I've made videos saying how important that is. We are now seeing this. Very good. King comes down to G1, hoping to get out of the fireworks. Bishop comes to C5, check. Check to the king. Notice how everything is becoming centralized except White's queen. She is way out here in the middle of absolutely nowhere, Timbuktu. It's astonishing, isn't it? All of the power radiates from the center, and that is exactly where Fischer puts all of his minor pieces with support from a beautifully placed rook. Cutting across, keeping that king on that last rank. This is superb chess. Well, king is in check. So he comes over here to F1. I'm not in check anymore, Bob. What are you going to do about that? Well, how about if I go knight G3 check? And Byrne goes, well, that's not too difficult to get out of. King E1, I'm out of check, Bob. What are you going to do next? Fischer goes, well, we could go bishop B4. And Byrne goes, oh, well, that's not a problem, Bob. I think I can zippity-doo-dah over here to King D1, and I'm almost away from you now. And Bobby says, yeah, you're kind of getting far out there, all right. So I could probably drop this bishop down to B3 and put you in check again. And Byrne said, that's not bad, that's not bad. However, what you failed to see was I have a escape square on C1, so there. And Fischer goes, well, yeah, you really do, that's good. But why don't we go knight E2 check? And Byrne goes, piece of cake. I have another escape square, D1, Bob. What are you going to do now? Bobby goes, well, you know, I could do knight C3. Look at that position, you guys. Absolutely every piece within just a couple of squares of that king. That is sin. Stinking sensational. And he goes, well, I can bump back over here to C1, and you want to take it easy on me? You're making me break a sweat. Bobby said, well, all right, in that case, why don't we call it a night and go checkmate? What I loved about this game so well is, well, the coordination of the minor pieces, of course. That coordination was spectacular. Where are the white pieces? They're way over there. And they're way the heck up there. They are nowhere to be found around their king protecting him. And Bobby beat the living snot out of him with minor pieces. That is a great game to help us realize, of course it's going to take us a lot of practice. Well, it took him a lot of practice to be able to play like that. But the idea is, look, if you are reduced, let's say you lose a rook accidentally and you go, oh man, don't think game over if you still have your minor pieces, because you've just witnessed that minor pieces are very effective and they don't need a queen. Technically speaking, they didn't need the rook, but Bobby was smart enough to hang on to the rook. You can still checkmate with 2 bishops and a knight. So this is magnificent. Then you got 2 passed pawns to boot. But so this is a great illustration to kind of encourage us to increase our mental toughness in our chess games if and when, oh crap, I didn't look carefully enough, I blundered a rook, or I blundered a queen, or whatever. It's okay. Game's not over till the fat lady sings. And if you've got minor pieces, you've got a chance. So that is why I wanted to show you this game so bad tonight. I really was impressed with this game. By the way, Bobby was 13 years old when he played that game. 13. Wow. Hey, thanks for watching my Backyard Professor Chess videos. Do well. Be good. Be happy. Study chess like crazy. Help someone in need. The Christmas season is coming up. Thanksgiving is first. Be thankful for all that we have. Be thankful for all that we are. And share. Help someone else who doesn't quite have it as good as we do. And then Christmas is coming. Why don't we all kind of do a cool Christmas project and find someone who we know is not going to have Christmas, and let's give them Christmas. Would that not be cool? I think it would be great. Anyway, I will see you in the next Backyard Professor Chess video. Don't you even doubt it. You hear me? I've got my eye on you, people.